Hey, welcome to NASA Launchpad. I'm your host, Vince Whitfield. Have you ever heard of biofeedback? Know what it is? You probably get the feedback part. Feedback is the return of information about the result of a process or activity. It's like when you write a paper for class and you turn it in, and the teacher lets you know what's right and wrong with it. That's feedback. And you probably also know that bio is talking about life or life processes. So, biofeedback uses physical signals from our bodies to let us know about our body's processes. It can be used to help to learn to gain control of these processes, to do things like increase relaxation, relieve pain, concentrate, and develop healthier and more comfortable life patterns. And biofeedback equipment can monitor signals like heart rate, muscle tension, even brainwave activity. Oh, monitoring your brainwaves? Sounds kind of creepy, right? Don't worry, it can't tell what you're thinking, just that there's activity going on in your brain. In the nerve cells in our bodies, including in the brain and muscles, electrical impulses help transfer signals from one part of the body to the other. Let's look at two major ways these sorts of electrical signals are monitored for biofeedback. We're talking about EEG and EMG. An EEG is an electroencephalograph, which monitors the electrical activity of your brainwaves, and an EMG is an electromyograph, which measures electrical activity in your muscles. How does the biofeedback process work? Well, basically, whether you're using an EMG or an EEG, you need some sort of sensor that will measure the desired body process. Then when fluctuations in the signals are noticed by the biofeedback machine, the machine lets the subject know in real time. In a lot of instances, this is done by an audible tone, which changes its pitch or frequency. But this feedback could also come in many different forms. Very simply, biofeedback uses physical signals from our bodies to let us know how our body is working. Still kind of abstract, right? Well, let's look at an example, and where better to look than NASA. Let's get some feedback from Neil Shaw, one of the students in NASA's undergraduate student research project, to give us an overview of his team's project. So what we did here was create an educational video game where the player's EEG data, or brainwave data, is incorporated in. The game's kind of split up into two sections, an educational portion and then an interactive portion. During the educational portion, the player is exposed to a video which he is expected to learn. During this portion, the player wears an electrode cap, where his brainwave data is monitored. And then in the interactive portion, depending on whether he was paying attention or not, the interactive portion gets easier or harder. Cool, right? That's all designed by students. The games were programmed by the students, and the system was based on NASA studies. Remember that. The first A in NASA stands for aeronautics. NASA researchers have done some pretty serious studies to improve the attentiveness of pilots in flight simulators using biofeedback. Basically, the machines that were reading the pilot's brainwaves fed that information back into the flight simulator. Change in brainwave activity led to the changes in the amount of control that the pilots had over the simulator. So, in order to gain better control of the simulator, they had to teach themselves to control their brainwaves. Well, you might not be flying any flight simulators, but I'll bet you play video games, right? And some of the new games actually incorporate your body movements into the game. NASA researchers have also done some biofeedback training, using video games to help treat children with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. With enough time and training, changes in the patient's brain waves can become automatic, and that can lead to improved behavior and attention all the time. Here's Robert Gaugelet, another member of the team, with more. In essence, an individual could alter the way their brain works. This is the core concept behind biofeedback, where ADHD patients can actually manipulate their brainwaves and produce more normal brainwave patterns, although in our game, we try to stray from the biofeedback paradigm, and really, all we're asking is, the user has to pay more attention to the instructional material. Pay more attention. You've probably heard this a lot from your teachers, right? And depending on the teacher, it can be hard to do, but imagine if you were given the opportunity to use a system like this, where you have to play games in an educational environment. You probably paid more attention, right? So it sounds like these students are on the right track. Professional athletes spend a lot of time practicing their technique to the point that they develop what's called muscle memory. Basically, through repetition of a movement or action, they no longer have to think about the movement or action and just react and do it properly. NASA researchers have even brought biofeedback to the world of golf. A combination of off-the-shelf putting practice systems and biofeedback technology can help an athlete improve their putting. The takeaway here is clear. If the athlete is stressed or misfiring brainwave activity, the hole will shrink, the green will move, and the laser guide will swing faster. But when the athlete relaxes, it all settles down, and it's easier to make a putt. The goal is for the athlete to learn the muscle memory of relaxation and the appropriate brainwaves, so that when they get out on the real green, they are able to control their stress levels and sink those big putts. So that's just one more application of biofeedback. Where and when do you think biofeedback could be beneficial? Okay, that's it for now. So see you in the next video on the same channel. NASA information minus 24 hours with NASA Launchpad.